were what my old music teacher would call idiophones. Anything solid made a sound when it was hit or hit something else would do. A idiophone from gigantic hollow logs to tiny slit drums. Up-to-date version of the idiophone. In ancient China, men horns from trees were hit. They gave out a sound which pleased the listener. With the discovery of metal, these gongs got considerably larger and louder. And various other shaped instruments developed, such as bells, chimes, and cymbals. In Indonesia, whole orchestras were made up of percussion instruments. Today, both the instruments and the orchestras are called gamelons. The xylophone started when people discovered that sticks of different lengths gave out different notes when struck. From here, it was an obvious step to arranging a set of sticks and organizing sing-alongs. When people grew tired of supporting tuned sticks on their legs, the sticks were put on racks. Voila, the xylophone. Then, a gourd was attached under each stick to act as a resonator, and the marimba. Another type of percussion instrument is the frame rattle. As my old music teacher would say, experts call this type shaken idiophone. But rattle is a lot simpler. The first rattles were worn by dancers to provide music for themselves while they danced. Later, men began putting things that rattled into hollowed-out gourds, into bamboo tubes, into shells. They strung them on strings and put them around other things. Almost every culture in human history has used some form of rattle. And almost every culture has also used another type of percussion instrument, the drum. It all started when some primitive man took a membrane, or animal skin, and stretched it over one end of a hollow log. This made a most satisfactory boom when it was pounded. My old music teacher calls it a membranophone. It was very useful for communication. But it wasn't very portable. So, smaller types were made. You could play them standing up. Variations were tried, like stretching a drum head over a clay pot. Or a metal pot. An hourglass shape you could carry under the arm was tried. And a drum with a pointed end you could stick in the sand. And for a different sound, you could play these drums with sticks instead of bare hands. Many drums today have the skins on one end only, bongos for instance. One day, years later, probably in ancient Sumeria or Babylon, someone took a single-headed drum and stretched a skin across the other end. thus creating a two-headed drum. Later known as the Turkish drum, and known today as the bass drum. Drummers added crude devices to tighten the skin, which changed the drum's pitch, the forerunner of today's modern timpani. A new development took place. It was found if you stretched thongs across one end of a two-headed drum and hit the other end, a new sound resulted. This was the origin of the snare or trap drum. Each percussion instrument requires its own touch and method of playing. We can see this if we slow down Shelly Manne's drum playing action in order to have a better look at his technique.
This is the accepted way to hold a drumstick. The left hand like this, and the right hand like this. This is actually a holdover from olden times, when in the military bands, the snare drummer, carrying his snare drum from a sling over his shoulder and resting on his knee, was at such an angle that the only logical way to hit the head of the drum was to hold the left hand in that position, and of course the right hand, there was no problem in the overhand position. To get a heavier or louder sound from the drums, you can turn the sticks over in your hands and use the butt ends like this. There are several ways to hit rim shots. With the right hand like this, with the left hand like this, and for a softer rim shot, laying the stick across the head of the drum and the rim like this. I'll now play a little thing using rim shots. The brushes are held in the same manner in which the sticks are held, like this. And you can get sweeping sounds from the drums with the brushes. They're played like this. Years ago, the main time-keeping element in the drum set was the bass drum. In more recent years, the main time-keeping element became the right hand on the top cymbal. This freed the bass drum for other accents. This same feeling on the top cymbal could be done on the hi-hat cymbal. The hi-hat could also be accented on 2 and 4 in conjunction with the top cymbal to create more of a feeling of swing. Nowadays, the time-keeping element is in your body and in your mind, especially in very modern drumming. What this does, it frees your limbs to do whatever you want within the time structure. As an example, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
also Latin American percussion instruments. Maracas, remember the shaken idiophones? Claves, struck idiophones. And the guiro, a scraped idiophone. The steel drum, a Caribbean instrument with this unique sound, plays melody and harmony. Made from a drum, an oil drum. And the timpani drums of the symphony orchestra. Cymbals. And the ever-popular triangle. Glockenspiel. Chimes. Chinese gong. The music of percussion instruments has been on Earth almost as long as man has. The variety of sounds, hitting, shaking, scraping, has added much to the spectrum of musical sounds. And the beats will go on.